Hello, my name is Destiny Johnson, and this is my project presentation for my documentary entitled Women on Stage. So for the documentary, I chose this topic because we are coming into the 50th independence, and one of the main topics or one of the main themes of the 50th independence is women, the celebration of women. So I thought it would be a good idea to incorporate that into my documentary, because not only have women been doing big things throughout the years and haven't been recognized as much as men, but I thought it would be a good idea to incorporate a aspect of culture that has not been recognized in the media for many years, and to recognize those women and highlight the struggles that they've been going through and what they have accomplished over the years. So I thought it was a good idea to do that for my documentary. So for my documentary, I highlighted 5 women. Miss Nicolette Bethel, she's the Director of Culture currently. Miss Lynn Therese Nixon, she is Miss Dynamite Daisy, and she's also in the Department of Culture at the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture. Erin Smith, she's a veteran director and also an actor. Miss Joanna Carey, she's very new to the acting. She is about 19 years old, and I thought it was good to get a perspective from a younger person. And also Miss Zenobia Pierre, she's a senior cultural officer at the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, and also one of the main persons for the E. Clement Bethel National Arts Festival, which a lot of children are a part of. So for my documentary, I took a deep dive into the good and the bad of being in theater. From the lack of funds, not being able to reach the entire population, and no support for theater, even when there are so much people donating to other aspects of culture, such as Junkanoo and things like that. There is no support for culture, and you will see Miss Nicolette Bethel and Miss Therese Nixon speak about that in depth in my documentary, and I believe that it will bring some light to that and be able to encourage more people to donate to be able to get the Dundas back up and running, because they are now working out of the black box, which has less seating for them, to make less money, and it's even been worse for them because of the Dundas not being up and running. At the beginning of my documentary, I spoke about a little bit about the history of theater, not too much, and how women have come to where they are today. For each of the persons that I interviewed, especially for Miss Nicolette Bethel and Miss Therese Nixon, they both gave the history of how they started and how they began and how they got to where they are today. So I also think that was important to note in my documentary. What I learned is that women are resilient. They have conquered so much. They have done so much for the nation, for the islands, for the people of the Bahamas. Culture would not be here if women were not here. I've learned that there have been so many struggles that women have been going through, that women in theater have been going through, and it's not been highlighted. And I've learned that there are so many things that other countries do not know that we go through. We are an archipelago, 700 islands and keys. For entertainers and actors, actresses alike, it is so hard to be able to get your play, get your song, get anything you have originally done out there because of the separation of islands. And Miss Therese Nixon also went into that in the documentary. Being able to have to fly to different islands just to be able to spread your play or spread your song. It is time consuming. It is very financially straining for these entertainers to be able to do. And also, although that all of these things are happening, there is no support. On a positive note, I've also learned that although it may seem that theater has died down, it has not. From what I've seen and from the interviews that I conducted, theater is big. Not as big as it was, but it is still flourishing here in the country. There are many people who still go to plays, who still like the Martinez and Miss Daisy. She has become a staple in the Bahamian culture, and she isn't going anywhere. There are also other people who have characters, Das Quay and certain people like that, who take this character that they have and they just spread it across. And this is something that you don't see on a regular basis, and it shows you that culture hasn't gone anywhere. It just changes. So I've learned that as well. And there are so many people who have this passion for plays, even young people such as Miss Joanna Carey and those other youngsters who were in the plays or who are still in plays coming up. Even there are some English majors who do plays for their assignments and things of that nature. It's still a passion for doing these things, and even young people are getting involved. So I really think that, it shows that culture is not going anywhere. And I've also learned that the government is having a part in trying to preserve our culture. Miss Zenovia Pierre informed me that the government is trying to preserve certain folk tales and things of that nature, such as Babuki and Barabi, which you watched on ZNS, or what I watched on ZNS after school and things like that. They're trying to, it's folklore is something that is by word of mouth, so it's something that is written down and anything like that. So it's really hard to preserve those things, but it's amazing what the government is doing right now in trying to preserve our culture and what our ancestors have done to make the Bahamas what it is today. I think that my documentary will play a big part in giving Bahamians a stronger sense of pride in what we do as a nation, in what we create as a people. And I think that there's so much that goes into creating a play, writing a play, producing and acting and memorizing, that I don't think Bahamians really understand how hard it is to put on these things. And maybe it would encourage Bahamians to donate more, to give more to other than just Junkanoo, to the different aspects of culture. Because as of right now, the Dundas is not even operating. They're using the black box for the plays. So I think Shakespeare in Paradise is still going on. They're using the black box. So I think that Bahamians should be able to, or should want to, invest in culture to keep these things alive. And I hope that my documentary will do that, will give society a new outlook on who we give our support to, because there are so much people nowadays supporting foreign entities and foreign producers and not supporting their own. And I think it's time to change that. Now for my struggles. I think that I have struggled a lot in creating this documentary. Editing is not my thing at all, and I think that I was not able to produce the documentary that I really wanted to produce in terms of transitions and editing and clips and things like that, because I don't really have the necessary skills to be able to do that, and also because it's not really a niche for me. Another problem that I encountered was not being able to get enough footage. And what I did to conquer that problem was I tried to record longer videos of the plays and of interviews to be able to get enough footage to stretch it enough for me, so I'll have enough to put where I need to put. Also, another problem that I encountered was a personal problem. My tripod broke like right before I started my interviews, so I think most of the interviews that I did were handheld. I think except Mr. Novia Pierre's and Aaron's, they were handheld, and I think I did a good job for it not being shaky and things like that, but it broke and I was like, oh my gosh. But I tried my best. I think that the documentary came out well. I think that I grasped the concept and put out a documentary that I am okay with. And I also gained a greater appreciation for video editors. I really did. So thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you enjoy my documentary.